we told our Kickstarter backers if we got to $100,000 in sales, everyone would get free bacon in their box. And then when we shipped out those Kickstarter boxes, every single box we put a pack of bacon into it. And then we turned on our website, because Kickstarter was done. We turned on our website and started selling subscriptions. About 2 weeks in, my engineer calls me. He's like, we have a problem. I was like, oh, what's the problem? He's like, so it turns out that we've been giving everybody free bacon, not just the Kickstarter people, but everyone who signed up. Everyone has gotten free bacon. It's a problem. And I was like, okay, like, that does sound like a problem. Can we fix it? And he's like, I don't think so. Like, I built the code in a way that it's just gonna send people bacon. And this marketing guy, Mike, who was working with me, he's like, why don't we just tell people sign up and get free bacon? And it was like, that's it. My name is Mike Salguero. I'm 42 years old. I'm the CEO and founder of ButcherBox. And this is how I made my first million. I was born in Paraguay, in Asuncion, and my parents got divorced when I was 4 months old, and we moved up to a really small farming community in western Massachusetts. I grew up in a very small town with 2,000 people in the town. I was the youngest of four, so my mother's father, my grandfather, was a very successful businessman. I had this upbringing where I would go home with my mom and my siblings, and we didn't really have a lot of money. Like, we were always waiting for her to get sent money from her parents. And my grandparents would take us on these trips, me and all my cousins and aunts and uncles. We went to Spain every summer, and we did all these things that were beyond the means that we had as our own family. And that gave me just this really interesting, I wanted a life that wasn't the life I was living. The small community I was in was pretty poor, and I saw this other path or this other lifestyle that was very appealing to me and something that I really wanted to strive to accomplish. I went to Boston University. I was gonna major in business. Within a few months of being there, I was pretty bored with school. I was like, this is pretty easy. I don't really get a lot out of classes. And so I decided to make the city my education. And so for the next 4 years, I worked full-time while going to school. I ended up, after a year, deciding that the business school wasn't right for me. I was always interested in being an entrepreneur. So before ButcherBox, I started a company called CustomMade.com, and I ran that for 8 years. The last round of funding that we did, my co-founder and I took about $1 million off the table each. We built into the fundraising, hey, we want to take a little bit off the table as well, and our investors were happy to do that. We were venture funded. We raised a bunch of capital from Google and first round capital, but that didn't end well. And while the business was falling apart and my co-founder stepped into the CEO role, I was wondering, what's next? What am I going to do after this? And so I had been getting these cow shares from a friend of mine. He had a father-in-law who was a farmer, and he would, on a quarterly basis, drive trash bags full of meat into Boston and then sell it. And so I bought some from him, and I brought it home, and we ate it, and it was amazing. But it filled up our freezer. We didn't have any more space. Well, I decided to take some of those steaks and sell them to people at work. And then a quarter later, I decided to buy more because the people at work were like, hey, next time you get that, get me more. And then I got more, and I ended up directly talking to this farmer and buying an entire cow, a cow share, which is 2 or 3 bags of meat, trash bags full of meat, and bringing it to work and selling it to people at work. And one of the guys that I sold to, this guy Mark, was like, this would be so much easier if it was just delivered to my house. I was like, yeah, that would be easier. And that began the question around how would you deliver meat to somebody's house. So I put $10,000 of my own money in, and the idea was, let's just see if there's a market here. We spent the summer, I started in May, we spent the summer learning from people. One of the big lessons we learned was people wouldn't eat that much beef, so we knew we had to do chicken and pork as well. And we launched our Kickstarter on September 9th of 2015. We went out to raise $25,000 in pre-sales. We thought that there was a way that we could game Kickstarter and basically get a much bigger return. We went out to raise $25,000. We ended up raising $215,000 in 30 days. Within the first day, we said $25,000 was our goal, and I think we brought in 40. Within the first day, it was oh boy, I think we might be onto something here. The vast majority of my net worth is ButcherBox. I own about 75% of the company. The rest is owned by employees and former employees. We don't have any outside shareholders. I'm not looking to exit. I'm not looking to go public. I'm looking to actually transform a broken system, which is meat in this country, and build a company that we can be proud of